into hour 2 here and dive into the second aspect of this, and that's getting to the second need on this list, and that's cornerback. Cornerback, oh, it's so interesting, man. I have such mixed feelings about Keshan Nixon. If he didn't get the personal fouls, the stupid personal fouls jumping on the pile and the whole tough guy antics, right? If he didn't have those, okay, my main knock on Keshan would be stop biting on double moves and play your damn assignment, right? Now, back up. If that wasn't an issue and you looked at the numbers, first of all, he wouldn't have given up all those touchdowns he did if he wasn't biting on double moves, to be honest with you. Keshan is not failing because he's hesitant. He's failing because he's too aggressive at times, in my opinion. Now, some people would say they want more aggressive players. I want someone who's going to play their scheme first and play through the whistle. That's the two most important aspects for me is understanding of what you're asked to do. Do your job. Bill Belichick 101. Do your job first and foremost. And 2, you play with effort every single play through the whistle. And when I say through the whistle, that don't mean let me go jump on the pile. That means you make sure the play is over before you let up, right? That's the struggle I've had with Keshan. To the best of my knowledge, though, he did lead the league in pass breakups. Guys, that's valuable, whether we want to admit it or not. As personal as this has become for me with Keshan and getting frustrated with the whole him refusing to try to make a tackle at the goal line against the Bears, it's still you've got to look at everything. You've got to remove the bias. You got to remove the emotion. Go, okay, there's an argument to be made that Keshan Nixon was our best outside corner last year. Matter of fact, I don't think there's much of an argument to be made that anyone else was the better outside corner. So when you get him at $7 million cap hit and he's your best corner, I can understand why they want to keep him. But again, like I said, you've got to sit down with him, and you got to have Jonathan Gannon and you got to have Bobby Babich and these guys sit down with him and go, listen, man, I would literally sit. I wouldn't do it in front of the team. I would sit down with Keshan in a room and I would put that play up. As a matter of fact, I put a compilation up. I would have a compilation of him doing stupid stuff after the whistle, and then that play where he refused to make the tackle at the goal line. And I would just play it on loop and say, can't happen, man. Can you commit to us right now that this will not happen this year? Can you commit to that? And if the answer is yes, then we move forward, and that's going to be one of our cornerbacks that we got as a piece. Now we can go shopping in free agency and try to plug and play and draft somebody to put around him, right? I'm interested to know, Coach, is that how you would handle that? We got Coach Lynn in the chat. Is that how you would handle the Keshan Nixon situation, man? Would you handle it that way? Am I, as a fan, never having coached, am I being unrealistic to think that you couldn't have that meeting with the player? Obviously, you do it in private. You're not embarrassing in front of his teammates, right? You're not, hey, it doesn't come across to him and other people in the room like, well, they're just trying to look like a tough guy. They're just trying to make an example out of me. You could get them off to the side and go, man, listen, we want you here, but this cannot happen. I'm eager to know if Coach Lynn, what Coach Lynn thinks about that. I'm gonna rattle off these free agents real quick while we wait on that answer. Jalen Watson in the number 10 spot. You guys know that's arguably my favorite cornerback free agent this year. Looks like Justice Mosqueda agrees. Tariq Woolen at number 17. I do not like Tariq Woolen. I would not sign him. That's just me personally. Jamel Dean at 18. I like Jamel Dean. He's probably going to be priced a little bit too high. Number 43, Nashawn Wright. He's coming from the Bears. Many people like Nashawn Wright. I am not as big on Nashawn Wright. Got a lot of interceptions, but everything other than that looked kind of to me, all right? Monteric Brown is an interesting one. I would be okay with Monteric Brown. Alante Taylor, I do not like Alante Taylor. Many people like him. I'm not big on him. Rasul Douglas, if you get last year's version and the 2023 version, yes. But if you get the 2024 version, cheeks. So there's too much inconsistency there for me to go, yes, definitely sign him, but he is on my list, okay? Next, you got Eric Stokes. Eric Stokes played horrible for the Packers, battled through some horrible leg injuries, right? However, bounced back last year, had arguably his best year of his career, right? So how do you feel about Eric Stokes? Kind of in the same ballpark as Rasul Douglas. Too much inconsistency for me. Cordell Flott, don't have him on my list. Chidobe Awuzie, I think is how you say it. He is on our list. I'd be okay with that one. Greg Newsome is not on my list. People love Greg Newsome because he was a high draft pick. Everything I've seen on Greg Newsome, never been sold. Wasn't sold when I think he was in Cleveland. Then he goes to Jacksonville, I think it was. Not sold on him at all. Would it be a horrible signing for the right price? No. but I don't think he's the answer to our cornerback room. Roger McCreary, he's on my list. I'd be okay with that. Trayvon Diggs, the fact that he's all pro caliber player, right? Dallas Cowboys defense was cheeks. He played one game for us and graded out in the 80s, and it looked like when I watched his tape and we broke his tape down against the Vikings there in week 18, it was like, this dude's the best corner on the team right now. Hands down. It's not even close. You can tell he's better than Carrington. You can tell he's better than Keshan. You can see the talent difference, the way he attacks the ball, the fluidity in his hips, the way he turns and runs with receivers, the way he attacks underneath on smoke routes, things like that. You get to see a really good sample size. You get to see him chase a play from his side of the field all the way over and prevent a touchdown, right? And what was the big knock on Keshan Nixon? So I'd be okay with Trayvon Diggs at the right price. Some are saying $4 million. Others are saying going to be closer to 10, right? His previous AAV was 19. So when you look at all the numbers, take everything into consideration, if I can get him for 5 to 7 million, I'd be okay with Trayvon Diggs. Now, if I could get Jalen Watson for 5 to 7 million as opposed to Trayvon Diggs, it's Jalen Watson. It's not even close, okay? But Jalen Watson's probably going to warrant 10, 15 million, something like that, depending on where you're getting your information. Okay. Asante Samuel Jr., I would be okay with. I think he's played good enough ball and the price shouldn't be through the roof. He proved that he was through the injuries, to the best of my knowledge. You guys correct me if I'm wrong in the chat there. I'm pretty sure he stayed fairly healthy last year when he played. Kobe Durant is not on my list. Mike Hilton is not on my list. Cam Taylor-Britt is not on my list. Joshua Williams, James Pierre, none of these guys are on my list either. So that's the guys that I like. All right. Is again, Jamel Dean, Jalen Watson, Asante Samuel, Rasul Douglas, Joshua Williams, Chidobe Awuzie, Roger McCreary, Monteric Brown, and Trayvon Diggs is the route I would go at cornerback. And I think Coach makes a great point. He says, take another shot at Samuel Jr. Remember, guys, we were on the short list of teams that he might potentially sign with. And I think he chose the Steelers over us, if I remember correctly. Take another shot at it, right? Which tells me Goody had a high draft grade on Asante Samuel Jr. No surprise. I think a lot of people did, right? I think a lot of people had that. So I'd be totally on board with that, Coach. Totally on board with that. With taking another shot at Samuel. And especially if you can get Asante Samuel for like $5 million, right? Again, $5 million, $5 million AAV, that kind of deal. And I don't know how long he would do that deal. It might just be a 1-year deal. If it's a 1-year deal, obviously you're on the hook for $5 million, right? Unless he gets hurt or something. There's some kind of language in the contract. But if it's like a 3-year, $15 million deal, i.e. $5 million AAV, and it's only $5 million fully guaranteed, then guess what? It's actually a 3-year deal. It's really a 1-year deal. And if he does fall flat, you cut bait next year, move on and fix the prop, right? So yeah. You got to be kidding me. In the chat says I'd take Diggs at 7. Got it, man. Got it. I would too. Yeah, I would too. Previous AAV was 19 million. Jerry Jones, smoking crack. Allegedly. That's not alleged. I shouldn't have said that. Jerry Jones made a bad decision giving him the 19 million per year, but he was coming off an all-pro year. All right. Look at me trying to be professional in here, man. That's what happens when Jacob ain't in-house, right? So taking Diggs at 7 million per, I'd be okay with it too. Because the 7 million, let's say it's 3 years, 21 million. So 7 million AAV. And let's say the guaranteed money is 10 million, right? And that seems like a little bit high of a number for a 3-year, $21 million deal. But essentially what you got is a 3-year deal that's really a 2. You're going to pay him 10 million over 2, and you can move on if you need to. Now, if he plays great, you've got him under contract for 7 million on average. The first year cap hit will probably be somewhere around 5 million. Then it'll jump to like 8, and then it'll jump to like whatever the remaining number is, 10 or 11, whatever it might be, right? That's typically how we structure these contracts when it comes to these type of players. So Chris in the chat said we needed Noah Williams, Coach. A lot of people like Noah. I know we talked about Noah a lot. I can't remember where he was on our board. We did a little breakdown on that the other day, but Noah Williams. There's a lot of players that you're going to see Goody pass on in this draft, and you guys are going to get tired of hearing me say it. You're going to call me. You're going to say I'm copping out, and I get it. I completely understand. I kind of agree with you. I just don't want my ego to get out of line, man. Like I can't sit through a live draft stream like we do, and go, oh, what a horrible pick, just because our board says it's a horrible pick. I can't get myself to try to acknowledge or convince anyone that I understand player evaluation better than Brian Gutekunst. right? I just can't get there. And I'm never going to get there because Goody has forgot more about football than I'll ever know. And some people are going, Clayton, you're down on Goody. I am down on Goody. But, it doesn't mean that I'm the grand poobah of draft coverage, right? If that makes sense. So when you look at that as a whole, I think Goody is a good GM. He's not a great GM, and without the Jordan Love draft choice, he's not a good GM. He's probably a average GM. That one pick of Jordan Love, it really propelled, and that's an important pick. And he had the huevos to trade up and get him. Well, you had a Hall of Famer on the roster, right? So, yeah, seems like more people are, a little more down on Goody today because we're, it's kind of wearing thin. Patience is wearing thin. It's like we continue to march out the youngest roster in the league, and we're not getting over the hump, and we keep kind of doing the same thing over and over. So, yeah, there you go. There is your cornerback deep dive in terms of the consensus room. Again, Jalen Watson at number 10, Tariq Woolen 17, 18 is Jamel Dean, 43 Nashawn Wright, and 62 Monteric Brown. Out of those top 5, the one I don't like is Tariq Woolen. I think he's a little bit overrated. That's just me personally. So if you guys are watching this back later, let us know in the comments. How do you feel about the cornerback free agent class? Is there a player on here that you like the most? Is it Watson? Is it Woolen? Maybe you love Woolen, man. Hit me up in the comments and say, here's why I like Woolen. Give me a description of and sell me on it. You might be able to convince me, and let us know which other players here on this list you like. Hit that like button for us. Hit subscribe. Click the bell icon. We would greatly, greatly appreciate that as well. All right.